Okay, guys, welcome back. Sorry about that. It's like when people call my phone, it's connected to my computer. So let's start again. We are making my dairy-free keto hamburger soup. Super easy recipe. What we've got going on here, for those of you who are just tuning in, I warmed up a big skillet. I added some ghee. And then we have, so ghee in the hot pot. Put me on my face. And then I'm sauteing onions and carrots. So I've got a whole onion and like 4 stalks of celery in here. This is a double batch of my hamburger soup. I added in a bay leaf for flavor. And this has been sauteing here now, I would say 5 or 6 minutes. And it's starting to smell really good. And the onion is starting to get kind of translucent. So I'm gonna give it about 3-4 more minutes. And then we're gonna crumble in the ground beef. And the way you crumble in the beef into like a skillet and these kind of soup things, it's always, for me at least, it makes a big difference. Like if you just throw in the whole chunk of ground beef, you're gonna end up with like meatball sized pieces, or you're gonna have to be like mashing your spatula in there. So I'm gonna show you how I crumble it in. And I don't know, since you guys missed the beginning, so we've got, I'm gonna use to season this sea salt seasoning blend. It's called Herb Mare. I love it. It's like dehydrated veggies, kelp, so for iodine. We've got dried oregano. I've got black pepper, nightshade-free spicy brown mustard. This is the Wegmans brand, but the Primal Kitchen brand is also nightshade-free. Like I said, a lot of spicy brown mustards actually don't have nightshades. They just have like mustard seeds, which are naturally spicy. I'm going to be using Primal Kitchen mayo. I've got some homemade pickles, which is awesome. And then this is the ground beef I found at Whole Foods. It was on sale. Look how chunky that is. It's nice and fatty. So, I've also got bacon in the oven for garnish. So the cool thing about this soup is that it cooks and then you garnish it with lettuce and pickles. And because I know romaine lettuce is like a no-go right now because of the E. coli, I got butter lettuce for my CSA box. Okay. So I'm doing 2 pounds of ground beef because this is a double batch of my hamburger soup. So the onion's beginning to brown a little bit in parts and it smells really good. We got onion, celery, and garlic in here with a bay leaf all sauteed in ghee. Now I'm gonna open up my ground beef. And what I like to do, without getting plastic in my food, hopefully, right, ideally, is and then crumble it in. And I like when it's like, what's the word? Like this one's ground up really loose like this. I almost prefer that than the super compact, things of ground beef. I mean, I still do the same crumbling thing, but it's so much easier when it's not like this brick of beef. Hold on, I don't want to do something. Anyone else throw everything in the sink when they're cooking? Just me? Okay. All right. So crumbling in the ground beef, then I'm going to rinse my hands really quick, and then we're going to go in for the seasoning. Oh, crap. I dropped the chunk. Hold on. Ah! There you go. Recovered. All right. All right, so I advise you to measure your seasonings. This is 2 teaspoons. The recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of everything, but I'm making a double batch, so using 2 teaspoons is gonna work fine for me. My rule of thumb with protein in general is 1 teaspoon of salt per pound of protein, and that's how I like to season my food. I think some people might find it a little salty, but salt is your friend, people. And especially if you're using good salts, and it makes stuff taste good. So 2 things of everything. And now I'm gonna saute this here with the seasonings until the beef is nice and ground up and browns. And you wanna I like to continuously stir until my beef is like thoroughly browned, because if not, you get those like chunky chunks, which is fine if that's like what you're into. But I like my ground beef. Who has made my crispy ground beef or the carne molida from my cookbook? If you know, You know, I like my ground beef really fine and really crispy. We're not gonna make it crispy for this soup because it's soup and it doesn't need to be crispy, but it's so good. But yeah, you made this for lunch. That's awesome, Ashley. You want to just keep moving it around until all the ground beef is browned and crumbly, so you don't cook any large chunks of beef. I'm going to show you guys. I don't have any homemade broth at the moment, but these are two awesome brands you can get at the store. Look at this one, Frontier Blend. Let me tell you, it's a mix of beef, turkey, lamb, and bison bones. Oh! And then this one is bare bones, and both of these are nightshade free. When you're looking for bone broths, always read your labels, because even the like organic Pacific brand, which I like Pacific, they make some decent food products, but they'll add yeast, sugar, wheat, tomatoes. Like one of their broths has tomato in it, and I'm like, what? Oh, the Frontier Blend. I love Bonafide Provisions. I was actually lucky enough to meet the owner at the Expo East, and she's just like the nicest lady ever and so passionate. She started the company because her son was sick and she needed to heal her son's gut, and she was making her own broth. And I love those kind of stories, and I love brands that are like, you know, born out of, you know, passion and necessity and like a personal story. Probably because like my own family, like everyone's an entrepreneur and they all have their stories. Okay, so you see my meat is all nice and browned. Oh my God, I almost lit my kitchen towel on fire. Can I tell you guys, I've never had a gas stove before. This is the first time. And I often, my kid, Jack, thinks it's hilarious because fire happens quite often because like grease splatters or a kitchen towel goes on fire. Because it's like an open flame. Anyway, hopefully I don't set anything on fire today. So, ground beef is cooked. It's starting to release liquid. If you guys know my recipes, usually when I have you cook ground beef, I have you cook past this like little simmering phase to crisp up the beef, but we don't need to do that today. So what we're gonna do now, we've already added in the seasoning. We're gonna mix in the mayo and the mustard right into the soup. And that's why it tastes like a Whopper. So I need about a 1/4 cup. I'm gonna eyeball it. And same thing with the mayo. And a trick here so it doesn't get super clumpy is you gotta stir it really well. You could even use a whisk if you want. I'm just gonna mix it in. Like mix it in really well. See, nice and creamy. If you haven't had ground beef like slathered in mayo, you're not living. I think it was my friend Leslie Clank. I saw it the first time she did it, and I was like, I gotta try that, and it was so good. So right now it kind of looks like a stroganoff, right? It's really nice and creamy. Doesn't that look good? And so if you just saute here and cook it and like cook it for a little bit, what'll happen is that the egg in the mayo will kind of cook. So when you add the broth, it doesn't curdle. And I hope the broth, this one's still a little cold because I just thawed it out. So I'm gonna start with the other broth. Because if you add super cold broth, it might separate it. And then, I mean, it doesn't affect the flavor. I can't open it. It just looks kind of gross. Oh my God. All right, I got it. So these things are this is about 2 cups. And this one's a little over. So, all right. So, oh yeah, let me show you really quick. It's super thick now because the egg is cooking. Look at that thickness. And this is why in Made Whole even, I use mayo to thicken soup sometimes. Mayo, if you can tolerate egg yolks, mayo is a fantastic dairy-free way to thicken soups and sauces without using coconut if you're allergic to coconut. So you wanna, I'm kind of just stirring right where I'm adding in the broth. Doesn't it remind you of like a guy peeing? The spout? No, that's just me. That's super gross. No potty talk at the table, like I tell my son. No potty talk at the table. Hold on. I'm actually, how many cups of broth do I need? 3 cups bone broth for 1 recipe. So, okay, so I'm gonna do I need more broth. Sorry, I was referencing my own recipe. Okay, oh my God, this is so good. Can you guys see it? Okay, let me grab the rest of the broth, hold on. And this one's still a little, all right, that's good. All righty, so we got about 6 cups broth in there. Let me show you what this looks like in the pot. Look at that, guys. So good. So we're gonna let this hang out here. I have it on like medium heat, and it's gonna come to a simmer. It's already starting, and it's gonna simmer here for, look at that, yummy hamburger soup. No dairy, delicious and creamy. We're gonna bring it to a simmer for 5 minutes, and that's gonna reduce it a little bit, make it a little extra thick and rich. And then we get to top it with pickles and bacon, and the bacon is in the oven. Let me check on it. Ooh, that bacon's almost ready. I think it is ready. Let's see. Yeah. Let's make some spaces. Ooh. Crispy bacon. Oh my God, I almost spilled the bacon grease on the computer. That would be fun. I'm slightly hazardous in the kitchen. When I worked in restaurants, they called me Tsunami. I'm not proud of that. It's just truth. People, it's like, oh, you're probably so professional. I'm not that smooth. Even when I was a professional chef, I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna bring the heat up on this just a little bit because this is a really big pot. And I want it to simmer quickly. And while this simmers, I'm gonna clean up a little bit. Put some stuff away. This is gonna be garbage. Did you guys know before you recycle stuff like this, it's empty, you have to wash it out? My husband's really diligent about that, which I love because I didn't know that before I met him. But yeah, like if you try and recycle food, like containers with like food in them, they're not gonna recycle it. So at least where I live, so we wash our glass containers out before we put in the recycling. Fun fact for you, save the planet. You cook like me. Yeah, I know. Some people are like really organized in the kitchen and they're like, I clean up as I go. Like right now, I'm like putting away some stuff. It's so weird talking to you guys. Hold on. Let me put this up so you can see my face. Hi. Yeah, I'll clean up between steps, but like as I'm going, I'm totally like, and that's okay. You don't have to be like, let me put it this way. In cooking videos, like pre-filmed cooking videos, editing goes on and we have everything prepped ahead of time. Even like all bloggers do that. And like Martha Stewart, when she cooks on, it's like literally people handing her things and like the food they present on TV is like already made. They're not doing a finished product. So never feel bad if you feel like chaotic in the kitchen, because I think, I don't know, all the chefs in my family, and there's a lot of talented chefs, they're a hot mess. There's shit everywhere, pots going on, they're drinking, and the food's delicious. So, all right, this soup is looking really good. Really, really good. Okay, I'm gonna move some stuff aside so we can slice some pickles. And like I said, these are homemade pickles that my friend Gutsy by Nature made. They're dill pickles. Look how good. And she grew these. Isn't that crazy? I love having talented friends. Hold on. All right, we're just gonna use 2 pickles. I'm only gonna serve 1 bowl because I'm not hungry. I just had lunch. I made these roasted cauliflower steaks and I added Caesar dressing to them. I made this delicious. Let me show you guys. Look, I made this Caesar salad dressing. It's gonna be on the blog soon. Oh shit. It's got anchovies in it. And like the reason why I wanted to make Caesar dressing is because I bought anchovies, because as you guys know, I'm on the omega-3 train like hardcore right now because omega-3s are super important and my omega-3s were off. And so I was like, what am I gonna do with these anchovies? And I was like, Caesar salad dressing. And it's dairy-free and I'm gonna post it on the blog. I can't wait. Okay, now the soup is at a full boil. Look. It's almost ready. Look at that. Yum. And we're gonna put bacon on it, and pickles, and lettuce. And it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I mean, we can end it live now, but essentially the soup, once you serve it, you add some pickles and lettuce on top. And I know it's weird, but like the lettuce just wilts in the, what's Bruce? The lettuce wilts into the soup. And it's actually really pleasant. Like it's delicious. And the pickles give it a nice, oh, I forgot. Secret ingredient. Duh. Pickle brine. I almost forgot. It really like drives home the flavor. If you don't have pickle juice that you like, or like if you can't find nightshade-free pickles, you can always just use some vinegar. I really like coconut vinegar, and add some dill. And you can use like dried dill weed, because the combination of vinegar and dill weed is gonna taste like pickle brine anyway, right? All right. So, we got our pickles sliced up. I'm gonna, it's hot, grab some bacon. And I'm just gonna tear the bacon up into like chunks. Woo, hot. And then I'm gonna grab my lettuce. And this is a nice trick, especially for butter lettuce. Let me show you. So for this soup, and especially because butter lettuce is so soft, you don't really want this part of the lettuce because it's gonna be like too soft in the soup. But if you use this end, so I'm gonna just chop from this side so we have the crunchy bits in the soup, and it's gonna add really good texture. And that's it. All right, so let me serve a bowl so you guys can see how this goes. I'm gonna move this to the back without burning myself. I'm gonna move this, I'm just gonna put it back in the oven. The oven's off, don't worry, it won't burn. So, let me get a bowl. Here, I'm gonna move the camera so you guys can kind of see into the bowl. And let me get my ladle. Okay. Okay. So, this is what we got going on here with hamburger soup. So I always like to do like 2 full ladlefuls of like the chunky stuff, and then I go in for the broth. Whoop, right? That's what's up. And now we throw some lettuce in there. And some pickles. And some bacon. And you guys, keto, dairy-free keto hamburger soup recipes on the blog. The link is in the caption. I'm gonna download this hopefully to my YouTube channel, but if not, I'm pretty sure Facebook Lives live here forever. So you can always come back and watch this 20 minutes, right? Even with technical difficulties. Super delicious soup. I made a double batch. I won't add pickles and bacon and stuff until I always serve the lettuce and like the serving stuff to the end. But this is a huge pot of soup. Look how awesome. I made so much. So we're gonna have this for dinner tonight, and I am packing this to take to my NTA conference this weekend. So thanks for cooking with me, you guys. We'll have to do these more often. Have a super good day. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Bye.